Donnie, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Steve.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our conversation, Donnie, about post-manufacturing, sterile packaging, going to market, speed to market, all things that are very important in medtech these days.
Yes, and that's where Millstone thrives.
Excellent. I wanted to kind of start it off with this concept of post-manufacturing. I have a lot of people on the podcast and we do these MPP events. We're always talking about developing and manufacturing, right? Devices, components, and a lot of times through the conversations, we talk about design for manufacturability, design for automation, design for sterilization, trying to be proactive, right? And certainly one of them is design for packaging, right? And just wanted to get your thoughts on why post-manufacturing is often kind of the bottleneck in bringing a product to market.
Yeah, it is very validation extensive. So if you're not planning for that in your timeline, there can be surprising lead times associated with packaging validations, cleaning validations, sterilization validations. And there's extensive testing as well that require laboratories, third-party laboratories. And yeah, again, if you're not planning for that, there could be some delays to getting your product to market. And we'll go through some of the items that make Millstone able to help our clients get to market quickly. Fast lane packaging that we offer, our blueprint for success. We try to navigate around that being a bottleneck for our clients.
Okay. Yeah. Let's dig a little deeper into that, speed to market, and what are some of the things that make it possible to launch these programs in maybe in 6 months. That's what people are looking for, I assume, right? Something to that degree.
Yeah, some clients are looking to go as fast as we possibly can, to be quite honest, whether it's an MPI or a product transfer to Millstone. And we have a blueprint for success. And I think that's kind of how it starts. So we're working with the client. Our sales team is out there looking for opportunities. Number one thing is to identify team members and responsibilities with our client once we land that opportunity. We want to align on the program transfer scope. So that's getting those requirements up front so that we know what Millstone needs to do and how we need to execute. Then we're going to create a timeline and identify key milestones. The output of that will really be our first month action plan. What are the things that we need to do within the first month to ensure that we are successful? So right out the gate, and ensuring that we have alignment with our client.
Okay. What are I know on our previous conversation we talked a little bit about pre-validated sterile packaging. All right. Tell us what that involves.
Yeah, so Millstone offers pre-validated packaging. We have nylon pouches, Tyvek pouches, and a tray configuration where if a client comes to us and says, hey, we have this medical device, but we don't have a packaging configuration clearly defined yet. We can help them work through it. And we have aging studies and process validations associated with our packaging. So that can expedite the timeline immensely. And then it's just fitting it in the right configuration, doing some confirmation studies on the assets that we'll be using in production, and running distribution studies on the configuration for that specific product.
When you talk about these studies, are you talking about aging validations and sterilization compatibility and things like that?
Yeah, so we're pretty good on sterilization compatibility. We know the materials and how they're going to react through the different modalities. Aging, Millstone has 5-year real-time aging, so that's something we don't have to worry about, and that cuts down a lot of time. So it's just the distribution simulation aspect of it that is product specific, and we need to run for each program launch.
Okay. And this involves like PET trays and other pouches. What are some of the deliverables?
Yeah, we have a PETG tray with a Tyvek lid as a fast lane offering. We
Okay.
have um, Tyvek pouches with a polyester film on the other side, and then nylon pouch. So each of them have their place in terms of how you're trying to package the device, what the device is made out of, the critical aspects of that device, and what you're trying to protect the packaging against. So we have a list of offerings that we can tailor very specifically to orthopedic implants, consumable devices, everything that we package under the medical device umbrella.
Okay. You said the word fast track, and does that, we talked about some of the lab testing services that you offer too. Is that part of fast track?
Yeah, so fast tracking a program, how we do it is we do have really great relationships with our third-party vendors. So when we create that timeline for the client, we understand exactly how long it's going to take for each test. We're continuously aligning with our vendors. And then additionally, we have internal capabilities, internal laboratory capabilities that have allowed us to work even faster. So we have great visibility of where a product is, what stage of the testing process it's at. So if anything does come up, we can react accordingly and get ahead of it before we are facing delays.
Okay. What are some of those? Those lab testing? Is it like bioburden? What can you go into some detail on a few of those examples?
Yeah, of course. So very typical program launch for us without any sort of assembly would be a cleaning validation, packaging validation, and sterilization validation.
Okay.
So within there, cleaning validation, we're testing for residuals. So you have TOC, THC, particulate, cytotoxicity. Our laboratory can support some of those testings, and we're actively trying to onboard more capabilities to further help our program launches. Packaging, we're looking at integrity testing, dye pen, bubble leak, and peel test for strength. Some of that we can do within the four walls of our Fall River facility, but our labs in Connecticut and Rhode Island can support the other capabilities that we don't have internal to Fall River. And then for sterilization, typical validation for us is a VD Max 25. So we're running 3 runs of bioburden, getting the confirmation dose, and then sterilizing the product at that confirmation dose and running the testing for sterility. So that's kind of how the laboratory testing fits into a standard scope of work for a Millstone program launch. But one great thing about our company is nothing's really standard. So even though I use the word standard, we can adjust and tailor to different segments of the medical device market, different products, assembly. Where we really excel is solving problems for our clients.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I didn't. So you have how many plants? You have Fall River. So you have plants in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. You cover New England pretty well.
We are, yeah, we're covering New England pretty well. So we have 2 sites in Fall River. They're right next to each other and they support one another. We have 2 sites in Connecticut, Bloomfield and Wilmington, Connecticut. And then we have a site in Rhode Island. And additionally, we support distribution through our Olive Branch, Mississippi facility.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're heading down south. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple slides. Go ahead.
No, we own the whole end of line processing. So soup to nuts.
Okay. Gotcha. The whole ecosystem.
Yep.
Let's go through. There's some interesting slides here I want to go through real quick, Donnie. If you could walk us through this sterile finished good manufacturing process flow, that would be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So how it starts it's our 1PO model. and that kind of revolves around the program and supply chain ownership. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that one PO, but essentially our clients can give one PO to Millstone and we can own the entire process. And what that looks like, our process internally, it looks like it'll start at receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be sending out POs to manufacturers of pouches, devices, whatever is needed to get that into our facility. We will then receive it into our Oracle system. If there is mechanical inspection, it'll go to our incoming inspection operation. We offer CMM measurement, key-ins, vision systems, other vision systems, the standard caliper, pin gauge type of inspections. So some vendors do use us, or some customers rather do use us as an inspection house.
Okay.
From there, it'll head to label generation. And as I'm sure everyone knows, labels are very important for medical devices, and we control them from essentially the start of the process. And after that, that's when we enter into the clean room for the real value of what Millstone does. That's going to start ultrasonic cleaning. So it's going to be an ISO class 8 environment where we're going to run through an Alkanox clean through a series of rinses. We offer, nitric passivation upgrade if a client requires that for their device. It's going to go through another series of rinses and then through our dryer.
Okay.
Our product will then go to our ISO class 7 packaging area where we'll perform our sterile packaging operations. So pouch sealing, tray sealing, and if we need to do some assembly prior to going into the packaging, that's where all those operations will occur.
Okay.
And QA review, so quality matters in everything that we do, and patient safety is our priority. So quality is embedded in every aspect, but we have specific, QA checks throughout the process. So that's what the QA review will be. And then from there, we'll head to bulk configuration. So that's where we're taking the product, we're putting it in the carton. If there's patient labels, the entire configuration is put together and then put into shippers for sterilization. And then we're sending it out to our sterilization houses, whether that's gamma, E-beam, X-ray, EO, kind of the standard modalities that are used throughout the industry.
Yep.
It'll either come back to Millstone for post-sterile release, or we'll do a virtual PSR, post-sterile release, and then we'll have final shipment to the distribution facility, whether that's Millstone's or our clients.
Okay. Very good. Thanks for going through that. One more slide to wrap it up. That's interesting. You can walk us through this.
Yeah, so this is more focusing on kind of the one PO model that Millstone's rolled out not too long ago. It's something that we've been doing, and I think we just put a name to it and really trying to showcase Millstone's ability to own supply chain, end-of-line processing, sterilization, the entire aspect of the final stages to get that medical device to a hospital shelf.
Yeah.
And that can cut down on a lot of work for our customers. So this is one aspect of Millstone trying to solve problems for our customers, and we're always trying to make it easier. And so when we will cut POs to vendors, suppliers, we'll receive in all the products. It'll go through our standard process that we just went through. We'll manage the sterilization, post-sterile release, and we even own the laboratory aspects of testing, that if there's any testing required for release or periodic testing for QDA or anything that we need to do to control our internal processes.
Okay. So you're providing a full turnkey solution, it sounds like.
We are. We have really thorough processes within Millstone. So we talked about our blueprint for success. One aspect of this is our stage gate process. So we're coming out the gate with the first month action plan. but we have a very robust process that allows us to understand everything that needs to happen when launching a product to our operations. And we can really do that internally at Millstone behind the scenes, as we're working with the client to understand their requirements, what their needs are. We're developing that production process and to be successful long term, because production is really where the focus is.
Yeah.
Getting product to production with the right process.
When you went through that process flow, Donnie, sterilization is part of it, right? And is sterilization still a bottleneck in the industry, like ETO and such? Is that still a thorn on many people's side?
It's always changing, right? So we're constantly looking at the capacity of our sterilizers, adjusting accordingly. If one gamma facility now has more product going through it, we need to adjust and use another one. We have multiple facilities on our ASL that allow us to do that. And we have all of our shippers dose map validated at different sites. So I'd say, yes, it's something we're constantly working through, but part of our speed and agility is ensuring that we're getting ahead of it. And that's from sterilization to engineering resources to launch these programs, clean room space. We want to have available capacity to meet our clients' needs.
Okay. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about AI. Everybody's talking about AI and just wonder, is there a place for it? Because there's so many moving parts in this process, and you do a good job at managing it, the whole from soup to nuts. And is AI part of the management, or does it assist with reduced time to validate or any other efficiencies that are gained through the use of AI in this process?
So I'd say, yes, it's something we're also looking at.
Okay.
AI, I think everybody's probably using it at surface level right now. I'd say me personally, that's definitely the case. But we do have a lot of internal company initiatives to see how we can use this to expedite the process even more. But we have a continuous mindset here at Millstone. So the environment, the situation today is not what it was a year ago, and it's going to be very different a year from now.
Okay, awesome. One last question to close out. If there's any practical takeaways you'd like R&D or engineering or ops teams to remember when they consider sterile packaging.
Yeah. What Millstone is here to do is help solve our clients' problems and make it easier for them as they launch, whether it's an MPI or a product transfer. If someone's looking for a partner to build a relationship with Millstone, get us involved early.
That's the key. Thanks, Donnie. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
All right.